Thoroughbred Week with John Henderson is presented by Adena Springs, Ashford Stud, BC2A Paste, Bloodstock Research, Breeders' Cup, Claiborne Farm, GLC 5500, Gainesway, Horse Sense, Keeneland, Lanes End, Malone's, OCD Pellets, Old Colony Insurance Services, Pin Oak Stud, Quillen Leather and Tack, Spendthrift Farm, Thoroughbred Times, Warrendale Sales, and Woods Ed's Farm.
Hello everyone and welcome to Thoroughbred Week as we recap Derby weekend at Churchill Downs, including a 15-1 long shot in Kentucky Derby 138. We begin with fillies and mares in the Grade 2 La Tryon Stakes. Last year's Kentucky Oaks winner Plum Pretty, the 2-5 favorite. Mark Johnson has the call.
Just over half a mile to go, the first half, 48-1 and into the far turn. Plum Pretty and Rafael Bejarano still by 3 parts of a length over Juanita and Ramon Dominguez racing in second. Now 2 lengths away, Absent-Minded towards the outside of the Driven, a Fleeting Lady. Then St. John's River, 4 more lengths back to Maristar, and Love the Way You Are is at the back of the field as they make the turn into the home straight in the La Troyenne. Plum Pretty has got a race on her hooves, and it's Juanita who is laying it down to last year's Oaks winner. Juanita now goes ahead in front. Plum Pretty tries to kick back towards the inside rail. Staying on in third is St. John's River. Racing down towards the final 16th. It's Ramon Dominguez and Juanita out in front. St. John's River continues to charge. Too late. Juanita takes the La Troyenne.
16-1 long shot Juanita by Leans and Stag and Mineshaft. The winner by 2 lengths over St. John's River with odds on favorite Plum Pretty third. Ramon Dominguez up in 142-4. A $25,000 claim at Gulfstream Park 14 months ago. Juanita went on to take the Grade 3 Indiana Oaks last fall. The Mike Maker trainee placed in 3 stakes at Fairgrounds this season before heading to Churchill Downs. The 4-year-old filly was bred in Kentucky by Padua Stable. Now owned by William and Graydon Patterson, Juanita has earned $485,000. Sprinting fillies and mares in the Grade 1 Humana Distaff Stakes. Groupie Doll, the 3-1 favorite. Once again, here's Mark Johnson.
Just over half a mile to go, 22-2 for the opening quarter mile in the 26 Humana Distaff, and it's Groupie Doll who now takes the lead. To Mildly Offensive on the inside, racing in second. Switch is in third. Musical Romance is making a 3-wide move. On the inside is Salty Strike. These then being followed by Sassy Image. Round the outside, Magical Feeling is next. Now checking out of it is Fancy of Flight, who's last, and last but one is Hot Summer as they turn for home, and it's Rajiv Marar and Groupie Doll out in front. And they've gone clear off the turn by 5 opening lengths. In second is Musical Romance. Back in third, Mildly Offensive. Down the wide outside, Magical Feeling continues to come on, but it is Groupie Doll in a 1-horse race. Groupie Doll is going to win the Humana Distaff by open lengths.
Favored Groupie Doll goes on to score officially by 7 1/4 lengths over champion Musical Romance. Rajiv Mirage, the winning jockey, in track record time of 1:20-2. That's back-to-back Grade 1 Stakes wins for Groupie Doll, who added blinkers for her last start, the Vinery Madison Stakes at Keeneland. The 4-year-old filly by Bowman's Band was bred in Kentucky by her owners, Fred Bradley and trainer Buff Bradley. Groupie Doll has earned nearly $688,000. Groupie Doll paid $820 to win and is the Malone's favorite of the week, presented by Malone's, Lexington's favorite steakhouse. Next, the Grade 2 Ali Sheba Stakes. Mucho Macho Man, the 8-5 favorite. Again, here's Mark Johnson.
They go now towards the far turn. Plutonium taken on by Fortland in second. Mucho Macho Man begins to make his stealthy move around the outside. Nate's Mineshaft is ridden. Successful Dan now begins to check off rivals one by one. Coliseo is next as Fortland now has picked up the gauntlet and he leads them by the quarter pole in the Ali Sheba. In second place now is Mucho Macho Man. Down the outside, Successful Dan tries to sweep by them all. Fortland is trying to go and take this. He's out in front by half a length. Successful Dan now bearing down on the outside. Fortland clings to the lead. Successful Dan now surges to the outside. Successful Dan and Julien Leperoux. Successful Dan, successful in the Ali Sheba.
Successful Dan defeats front-running Fort Larned by a length in track record time. With Julianne Leperoux aboard, Successful Dan clocked in 141 flat, a 114 brisk speed rating. This victory coming just 2 weeks after his half-brother and stablemate Wise Dan set the Keeneland track record for a mile and an eighth in the Grade 3 Ben Ali Stakes. The Charles Lopresti trainee returned from a 17-month layoff to win a 7-furlong optional claimer during the Keeneland meeting. The 6-year-old gelding by Successful Appeal was bred in Kentucky by his owner, Morton Fink. Successful Dan has earned nearly $597,000. That brings us to the Grade 2 Churchill Downs Stakes. Shackelford, the 9-5 favorite. Again, here's Mark Johnson.
Half a mile to go in the 78th Churchill Downs, and against the rail, Will's Wildcat taken on now by Amazombie around the outside, and Shackelford is there right between rivals as they go around the turn. Gantry is racing in fourth, the half in 44 flat, and Shackelford now lays it down to Amazombie on his outside. Gantry is there in third position. Will's Wildcat followed by Amazing Destiny, very wide Smiling Tiger as they come down the lane. Shackelford's White Blaze just in front. Amazombie with the shadow roll towards the near side. These two are 3 lengths clear of Gantry, who is back in third, racing in deep stretch. Amazombie near side. Shackelford on the far side. No quarter is given. The Shack gets his head in front. Shackelford to win!
Favored Shackelford by Tailor-Made Farm Stag and Forestry defeats champion Amazombie by a length. Jesus Castanon aboard the Keeneland Cells graduate in 121 flat. Fourth in last year's Kentucky Derby, Shackelford gets his first victory since he captured the 2011 Preakness Stakes. The Dale Romans trainee was coming off a third-place finish in the Grade 1 Carter Handicap. The 4-year-old colt was bred in Kentucky by his owners, Mike Loeffler and Bill Cubbage. Shackelford has a bankroll of $2,291,000. Jesus Castanon with the Safe Ride of the Week, presented by Sally Horse Fans, the safest way to the winner's circle. Watch Thoroughbred Week online on the Keeneland website at Keeneland.com. Click on the sales banner, then select Video and Thoroughbred Week. Welcome back to Thoroughbred Week with the Grade 1 Woodford Reserve Turf Classic just ahead in this segment. But we begin with fillies and mares in the Grade 2 Churchill Distaff Turf Mile. Marketing Mix, the 3-2 favorite. Mark Johnson has the call.
48-3 for the half mile in the 27th running of the Churchill Distaff Turf Mile, and still Daisy Divine has got the lead, and he's trying to kick off the turn. He's gone now a length and a half clear to Marketing Mix, who's racing in second. Tappet's Fly round the outside is in third. They're winding it up all the while, and Daisy Divine leads out the sprint, tackled now by Tappet's Fly. Tappet's Fly goes on down the outside. Hungry Island begins to come on, and so too La Reine Lyon with a swish of her tail deep inside the final furlong. Hungry Island on the near side. John Velasquez take the lead to Tappet's Fly in second, and racing to line. Hungry Island wins for Shug McGahey, a second win in the race for John Velasquez.
Hungry Island runs by Tappet's Fly to take it by a length. John Velasquez, the winning jockey, in 136-1. Winner of the Grade 2 Lake Placid Stakes last summer at Saratoga, Hungry Island finished third in an optional claimer at Keeneland in her seasonal debut. The 4-year-old filly by More Than Ready was bred in Kentucky by her owner, Emery Hamilton. Trained by Shug McGahey, Hungry Island has earned $390,000. Next, the Grade 1 Woodford Reserve Turf Classic. Tour Allure, the 2-1 favorite. Once again, here's Mark Johnson.
48-1 for the half-mile click as they go into the far turn, and as they do so, it's still Little Mike who leads the way. Racing in second is Turbo Compressor. Brilliant Speed is the one who has gone very, very wide around the turn, and it's Little Mike who is still out in front, and he slipped the field as they turn in with a quarter mile to go. Little Mike goes for Glory. In second is Get Stormy. Slim Shady is on the inside, staying on Doubles Partner, followed out wide then by Boxer De Rue. These then being followed by Turbo Compressor, and then Data Link on the wide outside. outside Tourallure, but has had a brutal trip really wide, and it's Little Mike who is out in front, going for the shock in the Turf Classic, racing towards the line. Little Mike at 12-1 wins the Woodford Reserve Turf Classic from gate to wire in the hands of Joe Bravo.
Long shot Little Mike, the front running winner by 2.5 lengths over 10-1 Slim Shady. Joe Bravo aboard in 1:48.4 over the course rated good. The third graded stakes winner of Derby weekend for trainer Dale Romans, Little Mike fitted to fourth in his latest, the Grade 3 Canadian Turf Stakes at Gulfstream Park. The 5-year-old gelding by Spanish Steps was bred in Florida by Carlo Vaccarezza. Little Mike has earned $830,000 for Priscilla Vaccarezza. The Lanes End Stallion of the Week is Grade 1 winner Courageous Cat, who is standing his first season. Courageous Cat, who finished second to the great Goldacova in the Breeders' Cup Mile, is a son of Storm Cat and Grade 1 winner Tranquility Lake. That's the same cross as leading sire Giant's Causeway, and would probably be a great fit for your breeding program. Welcome back to Thoroughbred Week with the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks coming up in this segment. 3-year-old stakes action is presented by BC2A Paste. Reduce the likelihood of tying up with BC2A Paste. We begin with the Grade 2 American Turf Stakes. Gung Ho, the 7-2 favorite. Mark Johnson has the call.
They're racing inside the final half mile of the 21st running of the American Turf, going towards the end of the backstretch, and Silver Max and Rafael Bejarano have still got the lead as they go into the turn. Blue Skies and Rainbows is now racing in second to the hedge. Coalport now tries to come on. Out wide is Scatman. These are then being followed by Gun Ho, who will need a little bit of a seam. Then wide, How Great now begins to make his move. He's following through. Look at the time as they come into the lane, and we had a spill at the back of the field. Down is Star Channel. Star Channel came down, racing down towards the final furlong. Silver Max has still got the lead. In second place is Coalport. Down the wide outside, staying on now is Look at the Time, and so too late on the scene is How Great. Also finishing to effect is Travel Advisory, but out in front it's Silver Max to take the American Turf.
Silver Max takes the field gate to wire to defeat Travel Advisory by 2 3/4 lengths. Rafael Bejarano up in 1:41 flat. That's 3 consecutive victories for Silver Max, who was last seen taking the Grade 3 Transylvania Stakes by 5.5 lengths at Keeneland. The colt by Badge of Silver was bred in Kentucky by Steve Snowden, Seth Loffer, and Will Loffer, and was a $20,000 yearling. Trained by Dale Romans, Silver Max has earned nearly $307,000 for Mark Bacon and Dana Wells. Next, the Grade 3 8 Bell Stakes. Contested the 11-10 favorite, Mark Johnson has the call.
Good Deed leads them through halfway in the 57th running of the 8 Bells. In second now, the menacing presence of the favourite Contested, and they have now gone 3 lengths clear of Small Kitchen, who is racing in third. Around that one's outside is Livy Mackenzie, and wider still is My Due Process. A 1/4 mile to go. Good Deed to the inside, sticking her tongue out at her rival. To the outside is Contested. Contested now goes a neck in front. Good Deed is in second. They are 7 lengths clear of the third, who is Livy Mackenzie, racing down towards the final 16th. It is all Contested, pouring it on in a 1 filly show. Contested to give Bob Baffert his second win in the 8 Bells.
Contested by Adena Spring Stallion Ghost Sapper, draws off to take her stakes debut by widening 4 3/4 lengths over Good Deed. Martine Garcia aboard the Keeneland Sales Graduate in stakes record 1:21-1. Second in her first start at Del Mar last summer, Contested Broker Maiden by 6.5 lengths at Santa Anita last fall. And the Bob Baffert trainee returned from a 6-month layoff to take an allowance race at Santa Anita by 5 3/4 lengths last month. The winner was bred in Kentucky by Cherry Valley Farm LLC and was a $110,000 Keeneland September yearling from the Claiborne Farm consignment. Contested has earned nearly $145,000 for Jill Baffert. Now the major event for 3-year-old fillies, the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks. Grace Hall, the 5-2 favorite. Once again, here's Mark Johnson.
Half a mile to go in Oaks 1:38, and Broadway's Alibi and John Velasquez still have the lead. Over in second, Believe You Can. On the inside, On Fire Baby and Joe Johnson in third. Grace Hall tries to follow her through. Eden's Moon is the first one to check out, drops right back through the field. Grace Hall is having to go wide to try and challenge, followed through by Amy's Dini out wide. On the inside, Summer Applause as the Oaks field come down the lane. Broadway's Alibi taken on the outside now by Believe You Can. Believe You Can, a nose in front. Broadway's Alibi is really digging into the inside and coming back for more. Back in third is Grace Hall. Just over half a furlong to go in the Oaks. Believe You Can surges to a lead of a length and racing towards the line. Believe You Can wins the Oaks for Rosie Napravnik.
Rosie Napravnik, who just missed aboard St. John's River in last year's Oaks, gets her first Grade 1 victory aboard 13-1 Believe You Can. The Keeneland Sales grad clocked in 149-2. The second winner of the Kentucky Oaks for owner-breeder Brereton C. Jones and trainer Larry Jones, who teamed up to win the 2008 running with eventual champion Proud Spell. And like Proud Spell, Believe You Can was coming off a victory in the Grade 2 Fairgrounds Oaks. The Kentucky-bred filly is by Proud Citizen, who also sired Proud Spell. Believe You Can has earned $1,059,000. Now to John and Joel of TCI with this week's Triple Crown Insight, presented by Forestry, standing at TaylorMade Farm.
This week on TCI, we discuss possible Preakness starters as well as a Belmont prep. Joel, with so many good horses running well in the Kentucky Derby, this year's Preakness looks to be just as exciting as the Run for the Roses.
It should be a dynamite race, John. Obviously, all eyes turn to I'll Have Another, going for that elusive Triple Crown. Haven't had one since 1978. I think he's a good enough horse, John. The problem for him is the rest of this 3-year-old crop is also deep. And you know what? It was only 3 lengths back to the 5th place finisher in the Kentucky Derby. He had a great trip. I'll Have Another. Others will have better trips in the Preakness. Will he be able to fend them off?
All right, before the Preakness, we have to have the Peter Pan a prep for the Belmont. Joel, we see the Lumber Guy and possibly Mark Valesky.
Yeah, the Lumber Guy is a very fast horse, John. Not so sure that he's a Belmont type horse, though, so this might be a one race for him this weekend, the Peter Pan. Not sure if he'll move on and be a Belmont contender, but I think Mark Valesky could. He obviously was a Derby contender, but they decided to bypass that race.
All right, thank you, Joel. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week right here on Thoroughbred Week.
Coming up, a 15-1 long shot in the Kentucky Derby. The feature race of the week is presented by Keeneland, investing in racing's future since 1936. It's the 138th running of the Kentucky Derby. Bodemeister, the 4-1 favorite. Here's the call by Mark Johnson.
The half in 45-1 at halfway in Derby 138, and Bodemeister leads the parade. Triniberg is in second. In third is Hansen. In fourth, towards the outside, is Gemologist. Then on the inside, Take Charge Indy, followed by I'll Have Another. Then Liaison with an awkward head carriage. He's very wide going around the turn. He's carried out Creative Cause. Rousing Sermon is now picking up ground towards the inside, together with Daddy Knows Best. Daddy Longlegs is right out the back of the field. So too is Perspective as the Derby field turns for home, and out in front it is Bodemeister. Bodemeister is clear by 3 lengths now to Hansen in second. Triniberg, I'll Have Another. Creative Cause is staying on down the outside. Dullahan is also picking up very deep on the track, followed by Liaison inside the final furlong, and it is Bodemeister and Mike Smith out in front. I'll Have Another and Mario Gutierrez now come alongside. Dullahan still has a chance, and then Creative Cause. I'll Have Another takes the lead in the Derby, and up the line, I'll Have Another wins the Derby. A first winning ride for Mario Gutierrez.
In his first Kentucky Derby, Mario Gutierrez rides 15-1 long shot I'll Have Another to a 1.5 victory over favored Bodemeister. Dullahan third for a sweep by Keeneland Sales graduates. Time of the race 2:01.4. And he's the first Kentucky Derby winner for California-based trainer Doug O'Neill. A first out maiden winner at Hollywood Park at 2, and second in the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity. He's 3 for 3 this season. I'll Have Another becomes the first Santa Anita Derby winner to also take the Kentucky Derby since Sunday Silence in 1989. The colt by Flower Alley was bred in Kentucky by Harvey Clark. I'll Have Another has earned $2,093,000 for Redham Racing LLC, which purchased the winner for $35,000 at the OBS April 2-year-old sale. The winner was consigned by Brookdale Sales to the 2010 Keeneland September yearling sale, where he was originally purchased by Victor Davila for $11,000. And Brookdale also consigned Derby runner-up Bodemeister to the 2010 Keeneland September sale. Kentucky Derby winner I'll Have Another, the Keeneland Sales Graduate of the Week. We'll see you next week here on Thoroughbred Week.
Thoroughbred Week with John Henderson has been presented by Adena Springs, Ashford Stud, BC2A Paste, Bloodstock Research, Breeders' Cup, Claiborne Farm, GLC 5500, Gainesway, Horse Sense, Keeneland, Lanes End, Malone's, OCD Pellets, Old Colony Insurance Services, Pin Oak Stud, Quillen Leather and Tack, Spendthrift Farm, Thoroughbred Times, Warrendale Sales, and Woods Edge Farm. Produced by John Henderson in association with Scott Ryan.